Hey guys, Steven here. I wanted to talk about the return of Flex Wheeler. A lot of people have been talking about this since he announced it at the Arnold Classic, and I kind of wanted just to give my thoughts on it and wanted to hear from everybody else. I know it's kind of the buzz thing that's going on right now in the industry, just because he's, what, 51? Flex Wheeler's 51. Kevin Levrone made his comeback at the Mr. Olympia. I did a video on that. He's 52. And then I actually want to talk about Dexter Jackson. He's 47, going up on 48. And really what this means for the sport and the industry, and just kind of thoughts on these guys coming back right after being retired for a while. Now, if you don't know who Flex Wheeler is, I think anybody that's clicking on this video knows who Flex Wheeler is. Was a big up-and-comer. They thought he was going to be the next Mr. Olympia in the 90s and late 90s, early 2000s, kind of mid-90s. After Dorian left, they thought that, all right, this is the dude that's going to kind of take over. And he actually lost to Ronnie Coleman. That first year Dorian was gone, he lost to Ronnie Coleman. This guy kind of came out of left field, and then Ronnie dominated for 8 years. And you see Flex come back and try to pack on a little bit more size to match him. And he was really going for the aesthetics over Dorian's, like, just very mesomorphic, blocky type shape. And threw this out on my Facebook and got some input and some feedback from some guys, and just wanted to hear their thoughts. And same thing with this, I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. And it's when you're looking at his body and you see the changes that he kind of goes through, you actually see what appears to be the use of synthol. I mean, his arms haven't really changed, right? They still have that very rounded look to them, and he is known for his aesthetics. And I mean, you can tell, I mean, without him coming out and saying it, you can tell, I mean, just the synthol use, keeping the roundness of the muscle bellies like that. And there's a while he took off because he had a horrible car wreck, jacked his back up, had to have surgery. He has a scar in his abdomen from that, in one of the latest videos that he did where he takes his shirt off and shows everybody where he's at. Now, his approach, though, this time around, I think that's the interesting thing for me. He's doing soft tissue stuff, myofascial release, seeing a chiropractor, getting the stretching in, really working on the recovery side of things, and he has to now, right? And he's working on that so that his back can kind of help, can handle essentially the workload that he's doing with it, and try to remain injury free on top of all the injuries that he already has. Over the course of when he left bodybuilding, though, you could see, I mean, like I said, his arms didn't really lose their shape, which, I mean, when you're a bodybuilder, you're that top level, I think you're going to retain some of it. But when you actually kind of just go, all right, I'm done and I'm not touching weights anymore, I mean, you would see that kind of change a little bit, but it does have very much that synthol look to it. So it will be interesting to see when he actually starts to come back, what everything ultimately ends up looking like with his physique. And I do want to talk about the fact that he's not doing bodybuilding, he is doing men's or physique at the Olympia, which is a different category. And I think he's going to use that because he won't have to get as big, because these guys are mass monsters now, and he can actually use his aesthetics now, and still remain somewhat slim. He said he wants to come in, I think it's like 210, 215 is what he wants to come in and be on stage at. So we'll see if he hits that mark. I know Kevin at the Mr. Olympia was, I think, I want to say 240s, but he's talking about maybe 230s, but he couldn't train legs like he wanted to. He had quad tendonitis, and so he's worked on that. If you're following any of his stuff on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or anything like that, he's actually been working legs again, so it'll be interesting to see at the age of 51, in this, so turning 52, I don't know his exact birth date, but coming up at this Mr. Olympia, if he remains injury-free, what he's going to look like on stage. Do I think he's going to win? The old school mentality side of me really hopes that he'll win, just because it gives hope to everybody that, hey man, in your 50s you can still come back and look like that. But I mean, facing Phil Heath and some of these other guys, I don't know. The fact that he's going to be up on stage with those guys is kind of a testament to his genetics and the hard work that he puts in and all of that. He did tear his pec partway through that he didn't talk about because he didn't want any excuses as to why he wouldn't show up. And a lot of people were doubting whether he was going to show up. I think that people are doing the same thing with Flex Wheeler. I don't think it's going to be as people aren't going to be as critical of it just because he's not doing bodybuilding. He's doing men's physique, so he doesn't have to come in huge. But we'll see with the injuries that he has and all of that, how that plays out over time. One of the videos I saw, he was training with Stan Efferding, the Rhino. I mean, that dude's jacked, and he's older too. I don't know his exact age, but they're close to about the same age. That's the thing, like, he never took time off. So I want to hear from everybody. I want to see, what do you think? I mean, is he going to do well, right? Thoughts on the Synthol potential use that he has when you look at his arms, his dieting and all of that, how the recovery is going to play an impact on his training style and his injury with his back. I'm surprised he hasn't, at least as far as I've seen, he hasn't hit up Charles Glass to train him. I mean, they talk about that relationship and how much it shaped his career, but I haven't seen him hitting him up for training or doing any videos or anything like that. Part of me on the business side thinks also, like, I mean, this is just going to sell more seats, more tickets. You're seeing these guys from the 90s come back, which everybody just keeps saying, like, they had better aesthetics in the 90s, and now you're seeing two dudes from the 90s coming back. So whether or not that's a business ploy, I want to hear whether or not you guys think it's really just to sell products and all that. I mean, Kevin's selling his signature series, right? His supplement line, which seems like it's been doing phenomenal since he's kind of actually come back and looks more like, not exactly the way he looked in the 90s, but he looks more like bodybuilder Kevin Levrone. So is the same true for Flex Wheeler. And with that, I now want to shift to Dexter Jackson, the Blade. I mean, if you've looked at his careers, he started out in the early 90s. I mean, he's 47. He's never left the industry. He's been, like, solid. He always comes in on point. He already has one Mr. Olympia title. He's the winningest bodybuilder of all times, as far as I know, with one of the last Arnolds that he got. I mean, the dude's just a genetic freak. It's insane. And if you looked at his workouts, they have changed. He has talked about the fact that he can't go as heavy, and he switched more to machines with certain things, just because it's easier on his joints and all of that. So he can attest to the fact that, yeah, he has gotten older, but he's changed things up. And like I said, he's never left. He's never been like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to leave for 10 years, then I'm going to come back. And he comes in conditioned every single time. I think he's always a force that people need to kind of be worried about. Because if he comes in 100%, now keep in mind he's not as big as some of these other guys, but, like, he has some of the craziest lines and symmetry that you see on stage. So that's that weird battle. I would love to see kind of that lineup of these guys next to each other, keeping in mind that Flex Wheeler is doing physique, he's not doing bodybuilding. But I mean, the Blade's never left. I think he's the true inspiration with I think these guys are, but I mean, just looking at Dexter's career, that he's never left. He's in the type of shape that he's in. He has that discipline. It's just a testament to the hard work that he puts in. Like I said, not trying to take anything away from these other guys, but I also think on part of what they're doing over here has to do with business. They're trying to sell their product lines, or people are pushing them on the business side for supplements that they rep or whatever, saying, man, you need to think about doing this, right? The comeback, right? Everybody wants to see good comeback. So for these guys, it has the potential to create a great draw for the industry. Some people are saying it's a setback, though, right? They might have the opinion that, hey, this is a setback. Like, you can't take this much time off and come in here and think that you're gonna place at all, right? These guys work year-round, right? They've been putting in the work. You left. So I want to get people's opinions on that also. Like I said, my overall opinion, I think with Kevin or with Flex, kind of a testament to anybody. I've done it. I've taken a little bit of time off from the gym and then coming back. I haven't taken 10 years off the gym, but it's interesting that they can let their almost body recover from the crazy hard workout that they did for so long, and I want to see how their bodies respond when they come back to the industry. I do think it is a ploy on the business side, though. That of course they want to sell products and all that other stuff. They see that there's a market for it, and you can't knock them for wanting to make money. And somebody else pointing this out. I mean, with that level of competition that they attain, I mean, they have huge egos, right? I mean, you do. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Look at any of the top guys now. Dorian back in the day. Ronnie's a little bit more humble, but I think he also knows that he was the best. But when I listen to him, some of the interviews. But I mean, all these guys, right? They're the best in the world at what they do. So I think the ego steps in also, especially after years of people saying you're not what you were and you can never be that again. So I think they're out to prove some people wrong with that. So it'll be interesting to see come next September. And especially the process. I mean, I'm going to be following along. I hope you guys do too. But come next September, I want to see what Kevin looks like. I want to see what Flex looks like. And I already know Dexter's going to come in shape. I mean, there's been rare occasions where he maybe isn't as crisp or conditioned as he has been in the past. But that dude always comes in shape. So I'm not worried about that. But I want to see how they stack up against each other. At least Dexter and Kevin. With Kevin now being able to train legs, because I mean, you looked at his legs at the Olympia and they were a lot smaller, but he wasn't able to squat. So we'll see. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hit me up with the comments. Let me know. I want your opinions. I want to know what you think's going to happen, and all of that too. So I'm curious as to what everybody else is thinking now with Flex coming back to the industry and Kevin also. So thanks for watching, guys.